Good morning, good afternoon. Once again, it will depend on the time that you are joining the course. Today, we are going to focus on other basics and data type and also data structure. And we have seen also in introduction to ARA programming, where we started by looking what is about ARA and how ARA also are different with other programming language. And of course, we have seen the history, and now it is a time to understand the basics. Of the basics, we need to know. If someone told you that they know ARA, that is the mandatory thing that you need to know so that we can confirm if you know ARA before we jump to the advanced one. So today, without taking much time, we are going to focus on mathematical operations and the data type. What is data type? If we say data type, we have seen the data type by nature in statistics. I think we have seen that session. And then here we need to confirm if the data type that we are talking on statistics, if it is equal to or if it is the same as what we have in ARA programming. So the objective of this chapter, we learn how ARA store data using object and variable, different data type in ARA, common data structure used in data analysis, and we will also look for the object and variable in ARA programming. So we will see how we can create the object, what is variable, and object are created using assignment operator. So if we say assignment operator, it is less than or less than minus and equal, or let's say for example x equal to, that's equal, it's what we call assignment operator. Or you can use x less than minus 10, that is the same as assignment operator, and we assign the values to the object. Let's say for example I have a lot of values. If I say values by example, I have a name. So a name of a student, those names of a student, we used to say that it is values. And then maybe I'm generating the function in other programming, or I'm generating the system in other programming where I will need to type each and every name of the student. So for me to make it easy, I will make the object, I will make the variable that is going to store those names of a student. So since I will need to use those names of a student, I am no longer going to type each and every name. So I will call the object because I defined it before. So since we are defining it, of course we are using assignment operator. That's what I'm talking. So, and here it is an example of how we can use other programming as a calculator, and this is the basics that we need to know. So of course there is addition, where we say you can take 5 plus 4 and then you get 9. This is division, 5 divided by 7. This is multiplication, we use star. So, and this is minus, we use the same as what we used to use in mathematical equations. And this is power, you can use this symbols, or you can use 2 stars. It is the same as power, so it is the same as something like this. You can use 2 stars or this one. So this is also the modulus. So we use the modulus when we need to see the remainder. So we take 9 divided by 2, and this is not going to give us 0. This is not divisible by 9, is not divisible by 2. That's why we have remainder. So if we need to see the remainder, we use the 2%, what we call modulus. So you see, if we take 9 divided by 2, we are going to remain with 1. That's what we have here. And of course, another thing that we are talking about, we are talking about the exponent, where exponential, it is going to help us in some applications of other programming, where we will be focusing on especially on it is like on decreasing the functions that is going to help us to measure the decreasing and decay. Especially it is applied on population growth and decay. And here it is logarithm, log of 10. So logarithm, it is also help us in reducing the variability of the numbers. So we will see it. If I type log 2, it is logarithm base 2 of 10. So we are going to get 3. So, and those who knows mathematics, you see here we have cosine. So cosine, it is some concept of the trigonometrics, and most of the time it is going to be used when you make applications on constructions. Those are where the trigonometrics also applied. And here I was like interested to show you that in other programming you can do whatever you want, not always to analyze the scientific data, but also you can analyze, or you can build a system that is going to work like the construction engineer or the civil engineer, something like that. You can, based on that symbols of sine and the cosine, and you can draw, maybe you can draw the plan of the house. So it is also possible here in other programming. So if you know more about it, you will enjoy it. I think it's going to be good. So, and this is the rules of naming the object in other programming. So the object names, that's if I say object and the variables should the same, it will depend on the interactor that is talking about it. And the object, it is also like what we store. So where we store the values, once we need to store the values, that is what we call object of a variable. So some rules we use to follow when we are generating the object cannot contain special symbol like exclamation, plus, minus, hashtag. Those specials like mathematical operations, it is not allowed to use it once you are creating the object. Can contain the letters. If we are creating object, we can also use letters, numbers, dot, and underscore, but cannot start with numbers. Since we are using numbers, we cannot start with numbers. For example, one, data, something like that, or total, minus. Those are the total score, invalid names. Those are the names which is not advisable to be used when we are creating an object. And the valid, you can use age, total underscore score, dot frame, data dot frame 1. That is the good example we used to use when we are dealing with the object creation or the variable creation in other programming. So another thing, case sensitive. If we say the other is case sensitive, let's say for example, if we say a in small letter, and then when we are, let's say you are generating the object called a in small letter. So once you need to use a again, when you use a as capital letter, so other is not going to accept it. That's what we call case sensitive. If we say a in small letter, make sure that you are continuing to use it a in small letter. Otherwise, if you are going to change it in uppercase, the other is not going to accept it. That is the same case if the way the object, the way the values is typed, make sure that when you are going to use it again, you need to make consistent in typing. So that's what we call case sensitive. There is an example, x and x, x a capital letter and x small letter, you see, are different in other programming. That's what we are talking. So the assigning values to the variable, to assign the value to the variable or to the object, we use equal operator or less than minus operator. So it is your time to choose what you are going to use, but most of the time we recommended to use negative, less than negative, or equal. It will depend on what is easier for you. So we are assigning, we are generating the object called x, and we are assigning it equal to 10. So, and again we create the object or variable called age, we assign equal to 27, and the annual income, those are also the variables, and to list all variables you have created in other programming. So let's say, for example, you have created a lot of objects in other programming, and then you need to see what is already created, what you have already created. So you will use LS, open and close bracket. So it is going to give you everything that you have created since you started. So here also, when to remove the variable that you have already created in other programming, you are going to use remove, rm. This is what we call remove, and then you put the open bracket and then put variable name, or list the variable separated by comma. So that's what we do. And this is an example. You are trying to see the all variables you have generated. So rs is going to bring you all variables you have created in other environment. And here, this is a remove. We are removing variable called x, and also we are removing the variable called annual income. We are removing that variable. So that is one of the example of how we can remove the variable since we don't need it. So the basic data type in other programming, we have three basic data type, namely numerical, character, and logical variables. It is a common data type we used to have in other programming. Don't say that it is only data type we have. There is a lot of data type we have in other programming, like a date, like video, like audio. Those are also other types of data we deal with other programming. But what I'm trying to tell you here, it is the most common useful for the other users in a different field. So we will have the numerical, we will have the character, and the logical data type. So to see the types of variable use, if we are trying to see the types of variable, the types of object, let's say, for example, I create a lot of object in other programming, then I will need to check for the classes or the data type of those kind of things. I will use also I will use class function. The class function, we are going to see it in a practical site, and the variable are assigned with other object, and the data type of other object becomes the data type of the variable. So these are the many data types in other. However, below are the most frequently used one, and the vector, matrix, data frame, array, and the list. Those are also the data structure, most data structure we have in other programming. So as I said, the data structure, that is the next session that we are going to focus on after completing the practical side of basic data type and we are going to look for the data structure, where, as I told you, we are going to see the vector, what is matrix, what is data frame, and the list. So the data structure here, as a quick understanding before we go in deep for each and every data type we have here. The vector store the value of the same data type. That's what we can know, and this is an example. Of course, you see that is interesting. At the time where we started, we have seen how you create the object and the all variable, but also assigning single values. And interestingly, if you need to assign more than one values, as an example of age, maybe you have an age of a student and you need to type each and every age, so of course you will need to combine it together. So that's where we do those kind of things that we are talking. So, and again, we also see another example of my friend, where we have Nicholas, Thierry, Bernard, Jerome. And on matrix, of course, if we say matrix, what we are talking, the matrix, it is the two-dimensional vector. So all elements must be the same type. So, and a matrix is more than, it is a two-dimensional and be the same data type as usual, and list can be store different data type. That is the difference between a list and the matrix and also the vector. But the common characteristics of a vector and the matrix, both of them, they store the data with the same data type, and a list can store the data which has the different data type, so as the same as the data frame. The data frame also, it is the most common data structure that used with the person who are dealing with data analysis, data science, those kind of field, or statistician, mathematician. They used to use the data frame. So what we call the data frame can also store the difference in data type in terms of row and column. So as of course the matrix also store the values in terms of row and column, but with the same data type. But here on data frame, they store the values in terms of row and column, but in different data type. So what we call data frame in R or in Python, any programming language, but for us we are focusing on R programming, of course. It is what we used to say in real life as called dataset. So those who are not new in field of analysis, what we call the dataset when it comes to the other programming, we say data frame. So the dataset, it's a combination of a sequence of questions with their responses, which is not easier for anyone or everyone to understand it. However, they are doing analysis, however, they are expert on it, however, there was one of the corrector of that information. So we are dealing with those set of questions and their responses so that we can provide the clear information. So that's what we call the data frame or the data set. So we will also use much as we can a more timers on the data frame, because we will deal with the data set. We will also do some manipulations on it and some analysis on also the data frame. So this is an example, and if we are interested to create the data frame in other programming, we will use data.frame. So that is kind of things we need to know, and that is the kind of things we need to keep in mind in what we are doing. So thank you once again. Let's jump to the practical side where we are going to see some applications of what we have seen. So this is also, as I told you, my name is Tase, and I think on the introduction to other programming, so we have seen that if we need to write the comment, to tell the comment, like to type things which is not called in other programming, so we will use the exclamation. So not exclamation, we use hashtag. So hashtag this one. So we use hashtag. You can use one hashtag or more. It is depend on the analysis you are doing. That is the design that I'm doing. Let's say I can say my name is Tase. So my name is Tase. So my name is Tase, associate data scientist. Associate data scientist. Okay. Scientist. Those are the examples of the comment you can type in other programming, and then you have to run. So another thing, here we have seen that we can use the error as a calculator. So of course we can take 2 plus 3. So if I run, I'm going to get 5. The shortcut of run, you can use Control Enter. You can use Control Enter as a shortcut of running the result. And you can also use this one if you are not familiar with the shortcut, but I recommend to master the shortcut because it is the easiest way we can use, and it is faster and doing things better. So here it is multiplications, like 6 times 5, 6 divided by 20 divided by 4, 2 power 3, the 10 modulus of the remainder of 10 divided by 3. Also it is the same of the case. So those are integers division, quotient. If we need to get the quotient, the quotient, we will add this division. So that is the things we need to see. But if we are focusing on modulus only, we no longer need to use those quotient numbers. So here we are creating the variables. If we are creating the variables, we have seen that we will use the assignment operator, but maybe you can use equal or less than minus. For me, I prefer to use less than minus, and it's your time to choose what you're going to use, but both of them, it is working at the same time. So of course, we create the variable code x is equal to 10, y equal to 3. So use of variables in calculation. You can also say x plus y. You can also say x times y, and then you will get the result. So, and also to get the result, you can type print. You see, you can type print, and then you say if I generate the object code x, I can print x. Or even you can type the name of object and then you run. There is no way to add the print. So the print is optional. So it is your time to choose if you are going to type the print or not. So it is optional. So that is, you see that I'm going to get the result. So this is also the numerical data type. We are going to see if we are generating the object, but we need to confirm if it is numeric or not. As I told you in introduction, we have seen that the function that we are using when we are creating the object, we used to use the class function. So we are going to see how it works. So I'm generating the object called age, height, and income. And if I need to see the values of that object, I will type the names of this, and then you see that I'm getting 25 here. And as I told you, this is the output side or the other console, and this is the script side. Script side, what does it mean? That's where we write the code, and then we can save it so that maybe we can send to someone to continue to use it. So what you type here, you have the right to save it or not. But what we type here, from here also I can say 2 plus 4, and once I run, I'm going to get a result. But the weakness of typing the code here, you can't have the right to save it. It is temporary useful, not permanent. This is the temporary useful. So, but for us, if you need to have the temporary code, permanent code, the code that you can save and then you can use it anytime, this is a site where in R Studio we type the code in terms of R script. So there is also another option we will run, which is called the R markdown. So we will see it. So here I'm trying to print the result so that we can see how it comes. Okay, and again also we have the income variable, where the income variable are mainly used. So, and here when I'm trying to look for the data type of what I'm creating, so I will use the class function, and then I open bracket and I close the bracket, where I will also use to see the data type. You see now I'm getting the numeric, the same as here, the same as here. What you need to know, it's just to type the class in small letter, guys. There is no functions in other programming that is typed in a capital letter. I want you to note it. Everything here as a functions that we used to use in other programming, most of it are in small letter, so you are not going to type in capital letter. If you type it in capital letter, it is going to be burden for you. And the good thing for the other programming, of course, if you type the functions like this one, Ara is going to suggest to you what is best. So it is your time to choose. It is advisable to choose among the suggestions if you see it. And another thing, you see, I'm interested to use the class, but if I put the cursor, you will see that Ara is going to give you the short a introduction about these functions that you are trying to use. Let's say, for example, the class example, they give you the class of X object classes possess in a simple generic function mechanism which can be used for object orientation style of programming method, something like that. That is the quick information about the functions. Maybe you can face the functions and you see that it is new for you, but it's a time to see how the short introduction on it, so that you can use it. The same as here, we are doing the same thing. And also the logical data type, so it is the value where we have the input of true and false, always true and false. That is the logical data type. But the character, when we are trying to write the character in other programming, we use the quotations to tell other that what we are generating it is a character. Otherwise, it is not going to work. So that is the difference between the numerical one. There is no need to put it in quotations, but when it comes to the character, we have to put in the quotations so that Allah really can understand that language that we are using. So, and the logics, the true and the false, there is no way to put in quotations. Just it's like to type the true and false, and then you'll be aware that it is there. So the logical operations. So here we are trying to make some logical operations, logical comparisons. I'm generating the value x equal to 10, y equal to 5. But if I say x is greater than y, so what I'm going to see, I'm going to get the output like in terms of true and false. In terms of logical operations, I'm going to see true and false. If x is greater than y, of course the output is going to be true. So if x is less than y, the output is going to be false. So if x is equal to, that is equal not assigned, equal 100%, equalizing, we use double equal, is equal to y. If not, we are going to get false. So x is difference to y. If we type the assignment operator, but in front of assignment operator we add exclamation, that's what it means. This means negative. A is negative to y. A is difference. This means the difference. So the x is difference to y. We are going to get true. So let's see. You see, it is a false. It is a false. This is a false, true, something like that. So you will see it. And here the logical operators, we are trying to see x is greater than 5 and y is greater than 10. What they mean? So I want you to understand the AND operator and OR operator or NOT operator. So AND operator, it is going to give us true if all conditions are true, which means if x is greater than 5, at the same time y is less than to 10, that is where we are going to get true. Otherwise, if one of these operations, if one of these logical operations, one of them are a false, the other programming is going to give us false also. So for us to get true, it is where all conditions we have here when we are using AND is totally correct. So, but the difference with OR operators, that is OR, the symbol of indicating OR, and this is a symbol of indicating also AND. But for OR, if one of these conditions are correct, let's say x is greater than to 10, yes, even though the others are not correct, but at least one, if it is correct, we are going to get the true outcome, because one of these conditions you have are correct. But for AND, everything must be true. So here we are going to get true also. And this is not operator. So as I told you, the operator exclamation means not. If you need to type not equal, not something, you have to use also the exclamation. X is greater than 5, but here x is not greater than 5, so we are going to get false. You see, you're going to get false. X is not greater than false. Okay, types of conversion here. Okay, so another thing that we are saying here, we have the data type. We are trying to convert the numerical into character, but we cannot convert character into numeric. So but numerical can be character also. I have the object called a is equal to 10, and if I say a as dot character, I'm trying to convert this one. You see, this one is if I check the class of this one, it is going to be numeric. But if I say as dot character and then I say a, so if I will check it again, you see, if I will check the class again of a, I'm going to get as I'm going as character, you see, I'm going to get which one? Still numeric. So we are trying to change the numeric to character. I don't know why it is not working, but it is the most way we can change the data type. We are putting it from the numeric to the character. We are also saying it from the character to the numeric. This is a character, but we are trying to put it into numeric, and the same time here, the same time here. But if we are checking if the variables we have, if it is a numeric, if it is a character, if it is a logical, we can use also is. So here, if I use is dot character, for example, if is dot character a, let's say for example, I'm going to get false because a is a numeric, so it is not going to be character. But if I say a is dot numeric, so I'm asking myself, I'm asking R if a it is numeric, so I'm going to get it true because it is a numbers. So the same as here, we are trying to check if is dot numeric. If it is a numeric, we are getting true. If not, we are getting false. Here, this is kind of things that I was trying to show you. So here I was trying to use is dot student, and yet I don't have I didn't run that value, this one, that's why I'm getting the error. But if I do is dot logical, I'm going to get it true. This is the real life example. Let's say for example, I have a student name, have a student age, so we are going to see a lot. And here, this is the sample examples we can use, and I think you have seen how you can deal with the numerical value, character value, and logical value, and how you can check also the classes or the data type. So if we are interested to look for the data type, or we will use the class function to check for the data type, and we have seen that R also can used in making the comparisons like a greater than, less than, not equal, and all. And also you can do the can use R programming as calculator. And yes, we have seen a lot how we can generate the variables, how we can also see the modulus, the quotient, the remainder. Those are the things that we have seen in R programming. I hope that this session has covered a lot. So what I require you, it's just to make the practical exercise. I'm trying to make the practical exercise for you here so that you can use it. Avoid copy and paste. Try to write the code. So the more you type the code, the more you master it. So that is the only way to master the coding. And of course, to understand what you are going to do, it is better than coding without knowing that we are going to do. There is some people who used to master, to memorize the code, and this is really not important at this time. So what we need, it is only just to understand that what we are going to do, and trying also to make some practical exercise. The more you type the code, the more also you are going to master it. So I hope that this session was good. Let's meet to the next session. Bye bye. As I said, there is no way of doing the practical thing without understanding what you are doing, and keep in mind that there is always room for improvement, so you need to work hard. So thank you once again. Let's meet to the next session.